I see some live things now. Yeah.
Okay, we are live. Welcome to Direct Line.
Uh-oh.
What a comedy of errors. All right, we're going to wing it. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Direct Line Live. My name is Jackie Saxton. I am joined by Don Irvine. We are tentatively maybe joined by Don's friend, George Rodriguez, who's joining us live from an event in Texas. He's got some background noise and maybe not some great connection, so we'll see how long we get to keep him for. But we're going to wing it. We're going to do something. We'll figure out what.
All right. Welcome, George. I'm glad that you're back with us, and even with our own technical difficulties on our side. So you can hear me loud and clear? George?
This is the 2020 episode of Direct.
Oh, there it goes again. Here it comes again. George, can you hear me?
Yeah. Don, I think it might be time to text George and tell him we'll have him back another time, and then we're just going to bring on Dwight and wing it.
I'm here. Well, there's a lot of stuff we can talk about. Hopefully, George can get back on. So,
George, can you hear us at all? George?
Don, maybe text him. Well, I'm going to vamp while we figure that out.
All right, you work on that, whatever.
All right, well, I'm going to humble brag a little bit. So
okay. Tell us about the YR national you went to.
So for those who don't know, I am the Maryland Young Republicans National Committee woman. And this past weekend, we had our first in-person meeting, national meeting, since a year ago. So myself, Evan Young, and Maria Sophia, our chair, represented the state of Maryland in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. It was very cold and it was snowing, and for a while I didn't think I was going to make it home. But the Maryland Young Republicans brought home the award, the national award for 2019 Event of the Year for our roast. We roasted the Maryland GOP chairman, Dirk Hare. So stay tuned for information about our now award-winning roast, hopefully coming in spring of 2021, where we will be roasting former Governor Bob Ehrlich. That's going to be a great time. We already think we're going to need a bigger room because it's going to be a super popular event. So stay tuned for ticket sales on that.
All right, now George just
George is back.
You can hear us now, right? Everything? Are we smooth now?
George, you need to unmute. There we go.
Okay. Yes, no.
George,
moving. All right. George, you okay now?
Maybe. Should I vamp again?
George?
George, can you hear? You just need to unmute yourself. There we go.
There.
Okay. All right.
Can you hear me now?
You're a little choppy, but we can kind of hear you.
Hello?
Yep, okay, I can hear you.
It keeps, sorry guys, I don't know what's going on.
Well,
George, if you want, we can have you back on another week and we can let you go and enjoy the event you're at.
I don't know what's going on.
all right, let's try this a little bit. Oh, never mind. Okay, there you are again. Can you hear me?
Wait, you can see him? Because I can't see him.
I can see him.
Welcome to the Technical Difficulties Podcast. My name is Jackie Saxton, and I will be narrating what's going on right now.
Yeah, so unmute yourself again, George. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can hear us now?
I can hear you. Perfect.
Okay, all right.
It just keeps freezing. I'm not
I'm not quite sure what kind of
sure
connection
what's going on here.
That may be part of the issue we have.
Yeah, I'm thinking, George, we might want to have you on another week because I think it'll be easier if you're somewhere, with a better internet.
Yeah, I've got a very, very poor connection. I'm trying to figure out if it would be easier to be someplace else.
It's cool. Well, George,
let me check.
Back on in another week.
Hold on. Let's see what you can do.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That would be good.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
That may be better just because this thing is coming off so choppy and it's getting kind of hard.
Yeah. We'll let you
Yeah,
go. Yeah,
yeah.
we'll let you
All right. All righty. Thank you.
I'll be back.
Sorry about
back
that.
in touch with you, George.
Thanks, George.
All right. Well, that was this has been a
Yeah.
rock. What else can we talk about? So
Well, there's a lot of things, one, Georgia, we found, Don, I don't know if you saw the story. In Georgia, they found 2 SIM cards now with shockingly Trump votes that were never counted.
I thought we were up to 3.
Is it 3? Because I was, this afternoon, I saw 2. Now we're up to 3. There is something
I think that there are votes that haven't been counted. They're not necessarily all Trump votes, though.
True.
So Trump is
It was more than half.
he's narrowing he's narrowing the gap, but it's still a wide margin.
It's a wide margin, but it just
Look, at this point, my hope for the Georgia recount is that they can maybe find enough votes for Purdue to just push him over that 50% line. So that would be great.
And that's a question I've had here too. Is that so the recount process itself was focused on the presidential race and not the Senate races. They weren't worrying about that. However, I don't think if they find uncounted votes for the election, then they have to count all the down ballot votes. Yeah, and my feeling is exactly like yours, Jackie, is that maybe there'll be just enough there to push him at 50.1, and we don't have to worry about the runoff. I still think the runoff favors the Republicans in general anyway.
I do too.
But why? But having 2 of them at one shot is also not a great thing.
Yeah.
So.
But did you guys also hear that in addition to the runoff, because I think we've had, today's actually a really busy news day. I mean, there's a lot of things. I think Georgia, and then there's a bunch of other recounts that are happening around the country.
And they also reelected McCarthy and Pelosi both to their speaker.
Though the election itself is not taking place until they reconvene.
Nominated.
Right, they were nominated today. Right, they were nominated today. They're going to leave. There's no opposition for Pelosi, but
it's shocking to me. Actually, I really thought that they might.
Here's the thing. Right now, they're a little euphoric, but I think, let me tell you, there is the Democrats were talking about a civil war. It's coming, but it's in their party. They're having
That's what I read too. Since they're no longer, united by their hate for Trump, they're just gonna go after each other now.
I mean, did you see, Don? They're criticizing Joe Biden's selections for his cabinet, as he's got too many right-wing or pro-business people in his cabinet, and they're still pushing for Elizabeth Warren as what did they say? Treasury Secretary, and Bernie Sanders as Labor Secretary.
Look, I'm all for putting Warren into the cabinet because the governor of Massachusetts is a Republican and gets to nominate her successor, appoint the successor.
Well, I'll tell you what, my dad told me, because I start grad school in January, he said, take out a student loan because then you'll get to go.
That is true. Joe Biden is going to basically, he's going to pardon your student loan, and
I laughed it off, and he goes, no, I'm serious.
but the chances that actually will happen are going. It's going to be tough because Biden could possibly issue sign an executive order to that effect.
Yep.
But it could easily be challenged in court. It probably would not hold up on a legal.
Yeah, that's why I'm not looking into it so fast. And then I'm like, well, now I'm stuck with a student loan. Thanks, Dad.
No, but
I think the Wall Street Journal reported there were 42 million Americans that owed $1.55 trillion in student loans.
Insane. The other thing that I thought was interesting is what happened in Michigan yesterday, which was, I think it wasn't the elector, it was the canvassers, right? That they were split 2-2 on whether or not to certify the election. And then the two Republicans caved, and then they did decide to certify the election in Detroit. So what's your guys' take on that? I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the president is trying to make a case that there were more votes than voters, in Detroit and Wayne County area, but that's really not panning out at all. This is one of the problems for the president, but not exactly atypical for the president to spout things that are not quite right.
Well,
He creates a lot of news.
He does. What's really interesting is that, this woman, Sidney Powell, who is one of his, his attorneys, she seems to be the new kind of face of the news right now. I guess it's because Lewandowski is, I think he has COVID and he's quarantining, and pretty sure our national committee man also has COVID right now.
He's probably on the recovery side, though.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything on the contrary, but so.
And here's the thing: all these folks that have gotten COVID, that are recovering from it. That's one thing.
Yeah, well, that's what's important. But so we're seeing a lot of Sidney Powell in the news now, and I was reading earlier that she tweeted something like the Kraken has already been released, and now we're getting all these. I was just reading this, what sounded like a very wild conspiracy theory about how this guy Monkeyplex has been tracking. There's been way more military air activity around the DC area, and that there have been planes flying to and from Gitmo, and clearly they're interrogating all of these people from Germany who interfered in our election, and the CIA, and I'm like, this is some weird rabbit hole.
Well,
but,
everything centers around the DIA, Denver International Airport. You heard about those secret tunnels they have underneath the airport, Don? I don't know.
Welcome to the conspiracy theory podcast.
I know, it's like coast to coast without George Norrie.
Hey, look, you want conspiracy theory? Okay, so we had Jerry last week, and my regular co-host on my show on Wednesday. Good friend of mine who I worked with him at AIM and everything like this. But even my wife, when she reads his stuff on Facebook, she says, "Boy, this morning we discussed this issue." And he must have had a list of about 12 things, in terms of, he is still convinced that this election will be overturned, that Donald Trump will win and have like 400 or so electoral votes. And I'm like, no, it's not going to happen. As much as I want to see Trump win, we're at a point right now where this is not going to, once as the votes get certified, this just continues to close the timeline, and we're getting closer to the Electoral College vote, all of this kind of stuff. President Trump should fight for every vote that he has. All the votes should be counted, but the margins, these deficits are just too big overall for him to overcome.
His goal here shouldn't be to overturn the election. His goal here should be to uncover the fact that this is not, as they have said, the most secure election in history, that there are inconsistencies that we could be working on in future elections. That should be the goal here. Not.
Here's the thing. At the end of the day, okay, I would love nothing more than to overturn this election, to just rub it in those smug-faced Democrats, But just think about it, we'd have to put the plywood back on top of all the business windows, so we'd have to give them at least a week or so ahead of time before we flip everything, because right now they took all the plywood off because the Democrats aren't rioting, except when there's a Trump rally. Which, by the way, this weekend they had a significant turnout for the MAGA Million rally in DC. I mean, that shows.
I'm very happy to not be in DC this weekend.
I hear they're planning a smaller one, I guess, the weekend before the Electoral College vote or something like that, too.
Hey, Todd, a mutual friend of ours is watching the show, Valerie Alanaz Lozano.
What?
Yeah, she's watching. Hi, Valerie.
But back to
I don't think she agrees with us politically, but
she's watching us up.
Back to conspiracy theories for a moment, though. I did want to point out, I gave my mom a new nickname because she's very much gotten into this. Like, have you seen this thing about the watermarks and this has been a sting operation the entire time? I call her Q Mom now.
I like that one. That's good. Yeah, you mentioned the Kraken thing, because that explains why I kept seeing on Twitter people change their handles to like release the Kraken, this and that and whatever. There's there's steal the election.
I don't get it. She's like, the evidence is already there. It's already being acted upon. I'm like, but then where is it? I mean, exactly. Again, I would love to see it happen, but
I want to put on my Dr. Politics hat for a second, and I know there's a mass exodus from Facebook and Twitter, and this is what I want to tell conservatives. Don't leave Facebook. Don't leave Twitter. Go to Rumble, BitChute, MeWe, Parler, but don't abandon Facebook, because we cede ground to the left. If everybody leaves Facebook, And let's just face it, Facebook right now is king of the hill. Twitter is king of the hill. There'll be a time when maybe Parler and MeWe and the others will catch up. But right now we have to remain on the platforms that are popular, as well as going to the new platforms, because the new platforms, if it's just all of us, it's kind of like, us going to one of our Republican events and just talking about how horrible everything is.
Well, that's a great segue, Dwight, because something else that was happening in the news, today's all blurred together now, so I don't remember if it was yesterday or today.
I thought today was Wednesday. I thought today was Tuesday, actually, earlier.
There was the congressional hearing, right, or the Judiciary Committee. They were talking to Jack Dorsey from Twitter, and then was it Mark Zuckerberg for Facebook, or was someone else there?
Yeah, Zuckerberg was there.
Yeah. So, did you watch any of that?
Yeah, I saw Ted Cruz really hand it to the guy from, I think it was Zuckerberg, about where he talked to him about, are you guys voting experts? Why is it that, you guys are blocking? Our friend Jeff Brown put a Facebook post, and it basically got blocked by Facebook. It has a little message, it's unverified, and I'm thinking, that kind of inspired me to post, well, hey, if Facebook is just lets all the other stuff. That's why I put out, Mars scientists have come up determined that peanut M&Ms are a heart healthy snack, because all the protein you get. And
I looked down and checked my text, but when I looked up, we weren't talking about Facebook anymore. We were talking about peanut M&Ms.
No, but it's all related though.
It is it?
Yes, it is.
I need to see that flow chart, but anyway, but you make a good point there, Dwight, about the whole Facebook and all this kind of thing. But yeah, look, what those that are moving to the other platforms, they're adding them to their arsenal in a sense.
Exactly.
But those are right now. Parler. These things are basically just kind of conservative or right wing echo chambers. It's all the same like people. If I moved and just basically moved over to Parler and all these other places solely, I would lose the connection with family and other friends that aren't going to go there. I have liberal friends. Actually seeing what they say is a good.
Growing up in Montgomery County, I'm kind of shocked that you know any other liberals.
And on Twitter, on Twitter, it's beneficial to be able to see what the liberals tweet so that we know what's going on. So, totally. And look, Dan Bongino, who you mentioned, he's not going to be leaving Facebook per se. He still needs Facebook and these other larger platforms for his audience. The audience is not there yet with Parler or anything like that at this point in time. Yeah. So,
and that's also my biggest complaint with the people who are saying boycott Fox News is okay. First of all, yes, do I think they called some states too early?
Hey, Jackie, would you say that if I told you One American News wants to do a pilot of our version of the 5 Dr. Politics, would you be saying boycott Fox then?
That depends.
They haven't, but One American News, we're available. Even Newsmax, we're available.
One American News, if you're out there, I'm looking for a side hustle.
We can be the rivals of the 5.
No, but my complaint against the people who are saying boycott Fox News is, yes, they called some states too early, but in terms of them not covering the election fraud or whatever, I've always appreciated the fact that they cover both sides of an argument in a lot of cases, and that the fact that they're saying that they're not covering anything about the election fraud is actually untrue, because every time I've logged in to watch either Tucker Carlson or Sean Hannity, I've heard them talking about it. It's
but
there.
See, what they're talking about, the criticism is Fox News. I was watching Fox News Sunday a little bit, not Fox News Sunday with Chris Wallace, but Fox News on Sunday. Where and they're touting the same lines the reporters at CBS, CNN, MSLSD are about how there's no proof of voter fraud. There's no proof.
Well, I think the misconception there, because there's no proof of.
Hey, Jamie, you're watching our show. Why aren't you on our show?
There's
Jamie Wheeler is watching our show, Don. We invited her to be a guest. Hey, Jamie, if you want to shoot me an email, I'll send you a link. You can be on right now.
There's no proof of widespread voter fraud that's going to unequivocally overturn the election. That's not to say there's not proof of voter fraud. We have the signed affidavits. We have, these instances now that we're seeing in Georgia, and we're seeing ballots. There's always been voter fraud in these elections on a very small scale. I don't think anyone is arguing and especially at Fox News, they're not arguing that there has not been voter fraud. They're arguing that there has not been this widespread fraud, deeming that somebody has rigged the election.
Right, and this election is not a stolen election by any sort. I mean, my buddy this morning, he says that he's trying to make a case, which a lot of conservatives says, like, how does Trump get 73 million votes or whatever and lose, and yet these other Republicans down ballot win? And I said, look,
that was
well. I mean, Don.
But my argument there is that this is where the separation can occur of, do you like Trump's personality versus Trump's policies? The people who ran on Trump's policies largely, they won. I mean, the Republicans, picked up a lot of seats in the House as a result of that. But they didn't run on Trump's personality. Trump's personality definitely hurt him against Joe Biden and cost him some votes. So that's going to be part of that disconnect that's going to happen there. But when you're talking about boycotting Fox or whatever, this is a lot of cherry picking by conservatives. It's like, okay, I love Tucker and Sean, but I don't like Chris Wallace, or how President Trump, he goes, that host, Shep Smith or whatever, he blasts them, but then 2 days later he's on Fox and Friends in the morning. Right. So it looks schizophrenic, in that sense that, do you or don't you? You don't hate Fox or do you like Fox?
Yeah. And Don, let me take this one step further. Ed Gillespie, when he ran for governor in 2017, he got more votes than Ken Cuccinelli did 4 years prior when he ran for governor. He also got more votes than the guy that defeated Ken Cuccinelli in 4 years earlier, right? Yet we know Ed Gillespie still lost, to Ralph Blackface Northam, Now, here my point is this. Was there fraud in the Virginia? Nobody claimed fraud in the Virginia elections. I mean, it's kind of related to that. The president got more votes than he did 4 years ago. Joe Biden just got more votes than Hillary did 4 years ago.
I mean, these two guys got more votes than any presidential candidates in history. Okay,
I know. It's like, I can't believe how many people went out and voted
that's
this year.
Something else I thought was interesting, because that's the other thing is, if I'm putting my conspiracy theory hat back on, is you mean to tell me the guy who did nothing but campaign from his basement got more votes than the first Black president? And I do think that's a fair point. Is the hatred for Trump so strong that more people were willing to vote for Biden than Obama?
That you do bring up a good point, because one, I think that does speak volumes. I think there was some voter fraud here and there. And again, I'm also not a demographics expert by any means of the imagination, but I'm wondering how much of that is also an older generation that has maybe passed on in the past 4 years, and the introduction of a younger generation that has now turned 18 and has become passionate. Well, honestly, my view is this. Okay, one, I think that the part of the problem is the president had a lot of headwind he was running against. Okay, he had the liberal media that spent 4 years saying the guy was a liar, a cheat, a reprobate. He colluded with the Russians, and he was everything. They called him every name in the book. He had the Never Trump Republicans, like at National Review and other publications, that were anti-Trump. Then he had those Lincoln Project Republicans like Michael Steele, who is basically, who was one of the least effective RNC chairs we've ever had. This is a guy that when he was in charge of the RNC, he screwed up the Tampa convention in 2012. Thank God Reince Priebus got in there and got the ship straight and got things running for the convention in Tampa in 2012. You got people like him. You got people like Connie Morella. You got people like Wayne Gilchrist, Chris Shays, and even the shocker of shockers, Carly Fiorina, Ted Cruz's running mate, was part of that whole Never Trump crowd of, and I'm thinking, like, how can you do that? First of all, we all held our noses and voted for John McCain in 2008, even though I didn't like John McCain. He was Mr. Keating Fives. He was in charge of campaign finance for him. He wanted to basically change the rules on air travel so we can get a direct flight from Reagan to Phoenix, but they have to connect through Arizona or Oklahoma City or some other hub around, you know.
Welcome to Dr. Politics Light. My name is Jackie Saxton.
I know. I think this is like the preview for Friday or something.
No, the preview for I did Fridays.
It's okay, right? I mean, it's like
Look, it makes me feel better about the fact that I'm not going to be on Fridays.
That's right. You can say whatever you were going to say on Friday tonight.
All right, let's talk about Pennsylvania for a second then.
Well, Pennsylvania, you know, they say you've got a friend in Pennsylvania. And, oh, by the way, Rob Windley sent us a nice note. But anyways, I'm just monitoring everything.
Price is like name dropping everybody that's showing up tonight.
No, we've actually got a lot of Robin Fickers watching us.
Hey, ask us questions. Yeah, so I was saying before the show started, because I'm not gonna be on Friday. One of the things that I want someone to talk about on my behalf, so I guess I'll just bring it up now, is the fact that in Pennsylvania, they're trying to mandate that if there are people in your house that don't live there, they should have to wear a mask. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you can't tell me what goes on in the privacy of my own home.
It's sad, but you know, even Mark Elric has entertained that notion. I think in Montgomery County here in Maryland. You know, honestly, honestly, what's happening is people are going to go nuts if there's another lockdown. I'm sorry, people. You know,
how many people do you think are actually going to obey, say, the 10-person limit for Thanksgiving?
None. There's a
Zero.
great thing going around.
I don't know how they're going to really enforce it unless neighbors are going to rat out their neighbors or something like that.
Yeah, it's very McCarthy, you know.
It is Montgomery County, Don. I wouldn't put it past some of my neighbors.
But I mean, I'm saying like New York and all these other states that have been, they're putting restrictions on, Oregon, whatever. We're just seeing all this crazy stuff.
But the masks in the house thing too. It's like, how do you enforce that? Is it gonna be like 1984? Or where they have the TV that's listening to you in your house.
Well, Jackie,
Alexa gonna rat me out?
Hey, Jackie, it's funny you mentioned that. You know, when we went this, I don't know, you may have been alive for this. We used to have these tube TVs that were like really big and heavy. Then we did a conversion to digital.
Is that the one that gave me static hair when I turned it on?
Yes.
Probably so. Yeah.
And you had rabbit ear. You probably didn't have rabbit ear antennas either. But anyways, George Norrie, legendary overnight talk show guy, had a guy on that says this whole switch to digital is for televisions to eavesdrop. This is back when, if you remember, they were talking about having the new EMS system to turn on your TV when something happens automatically, even if the TV's off, they're going to turn it on for you. And they go, that's all part of the New World Order, 1984, George Orwell. And, it seemed a little crazy then, but, maybe not. Every laptop now has a camera, and that's another thing they're saying, every new laptops all have cameras and they're all watching us, what we're doing.
Yeah, our work encourages us to put like a sticker or something over the camera, except now they don't, because they want us to be able to see each other because we're...
Honestly, my view is this: if it's a work thing, I know a lot of people, like, when we do Teams for meetings and stuff like that, people turn off their camera. I mean, I like to see facial expressions, frankly. I like to read body language. And
I don't even remember what my coworkers look like.
But I mean, even on these kinds of things, I mean, we can see each other, and I mean, but it's our familiarity with each other to an extent that allows us to flow and to kind of feel each other. But if you've got some new people or people you didn't really know very well, and now all of a sudden you're in Zoom, I don't care if you see them, the thing is that the standard thing is that you want to be able to read the room. Well, you're now trying to read like 40 rooms or something, whatever, because all the different background. I mean, there's certain things that happen when people are together, as
you don't get the body language
versus all these little squares or rectangles.
I mean, they're talking. I mean, one of the government agencies I work with, wants to do a virtual Christmas party. They want to send people little cookies and cocoa and stuff like that. You're supposed to eat it together. I'm like, it's not the same thing. I'm sorry. It's really not.
Like, Joe, are you going to like mail the open bar to my house, or do I have to provide my own alcohol?
I must say some of the government customers, like a certain government customer, which is probably one of the most productive agencies. But speaking of that, let me touch on something. We went back to space again on our own powers, no longer Russian Uber. American, we used the Falcon Starship, as Elon Musk is calling it, but only call it a Starship if it goes up and if nacelles pop out and you go to warp like Zephyr Cochrane did in First Contact. But anyways, the Falcon Starship, and that's part of the public-private partnership with NASA, which was spearheaded by President Trump and Vice President Pence. Vice President Pence, big fan of NASA. I wonder what's going to happen with our Mars mission and Artemis now that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, are in charge. Are they going to kill?
Put my conspiracy theory hat back on here.
Sure, go for it.
Joe Biden is selling us out to the aliens. Hats out.
We have become coast to coast tonight now.
Hunter's working with the Martians.
Welcome to Coast to Coast AM, everyone.
Hunter is working with
I'm filling in for George Norrie tonight.
I said it.
Joe Biden is the new Art Bell.
Yes, he looks like Art Bell. By the way, what's funny is Art Bell. He went to the University of Maryland. He has an engineering degree from the Glenn L. Martin School of Engineering at the University of Maryland.
Yeah, I don't know. My father was on that program a few times, and I'm like, whatever.
I bet he got along with Art Bell pretty well.
I mean, he didn't. He had more than one appearance, so he definitely got along with them. I mean, if people aren't liked, they're not generally going to get invited back. In that kind of space. And I mean, my father was willing to listen to a lot of people with a lot of crazy things.
And your dad was a night owl too, wasn't he? Because to be on that show, you had to be.
He could stay up. Yeah, he could stay up at times.
And he'd still be up early in the morning.
A membership push, because this is Direct Line and not Dr. Politics. Hey, we're looking for new members. If you're looking for fun people like us to hang out with during COVID, whether that be online or eventually in person when we all boycott the lockdowns or whatever, you should join the Montgomery County Republican Club. Dwight will probably drop the link to join our group. It's not expensive at all. And we're throwing in a free
Hey, don't just say not expensive without telling how much it is to join our club. It's an insanely low price. I cannot believe it.
Low price.
How much is it, Jackie?
I think it's $20, right?
$30.
See, totally knew that. $30. It's $30. And this year only, we are throwing in a membership or auxiliary membership to a new, awesome, up-and-coming women's club. Working title, Susan B. Anthony Republican Women's Club. If you are a woman, you'll be a member. If you're not a woman, you will be an auxiliary member. So we'd love to have you. And that's free if you join our group. And we have great events, so you should totally join us.
We have wonderful events. We have we did Trump Thursdays, a lot of then as soon as we were able to, we went back to doing them in person. I think we were one of the few clubs that actually did go back to doing in-person events once the lockdown was eased, the restrictions, thanks to our good friends at La Hinge. And one little plug for La Hinge and our other friends like in Mama Lucia's. If we do go through a lockdown, support our friends and our supporters like La Hinge, Mama Lucia's, Stained Glass Pub, Armand's, bunch of places.
Keep listing pizza places.
I know, heavy on the pizza.
They're not all pizza places. Stained Glass Pub's not a pizza place.
If you like pizza, join our club.
That's right. If you like pizza, you join our club. Exactly.
Well, I mean,
but especially now, with everything that's gone on in the election, we have a lot of work to do to get ready for 2022. We have a very, very, very good chance of taking back the House. And being a part of our club, you're going to get all the information about rallies.
We're going to starting next month. Starting January, we're going to start doing candidate recruitments. We are looking for good candidates for county executive in Montgomery County, and even in our neighboring counties like Howard County. And I mean, if you're tired of, I always get this wrong. Is it Ball or Pittman who's the Howard County executive?
Not sure. Yeah, if you honestly, if you're fed up with the way that things have been going, with the way that your county has been, handling the pandemic, if you're fed up with the way that our state government has been handling everything going on, if you want to make a difference and you're a Republican and you want to run, please reach out to us. We will support you. We will get you the support you need from the state party.
We'll get you copies of the Dr. Politics book, maybe
Another
autographed even.
shameless plug for the YRs. We'll invite you to our Young Republican Leadership Conference on January 16th, where we will be doing all kinds of trainings on, running for office 101, campaign filing, everything and anything you need to know, getting you in touch with a campaign manager. So we're looking for you. You just need to come and reach out to us, or if you know anybody you think would be a really, really good candidate,
And
encourage them to run, because I think that we're going to have a very strong midterm election after this year, and we just need to get out there and keep fighting. And the first step to that is becoming a part of a club like ours, where we can get you those resources. That
every single Democrat is up for re-election in Montgomery County as well as around the state. If you're tired of your Democrat representative, either your delegate or a state senator, you might want to think about running against them. You never know. When lightning will
weirder
strike.
things have happened than Maryland becoming a red state. Red's one of our state colors, so it just kind of makes sense if you think about it.
Yes, but I think the Democrats will probably I think they're going to try and take the cross out of our state flag next year.
And if you run, Dwight will write you a very large personal check.
And he'll
Hey, I'm not.
Dwight is like a PAC.
Hey, now that I don't have to give to the Central Committee as much as I used to,
Kind of ban you from giving.
No, the Central Committee told me not to come to any more of their events, Montgomery County, so I go to Howard County, I go to
moral of the story, we're looking for you if you want to run, and we will support you, and we'll get you whatever you need to be successful.
We've got a very good
sick and tired of the way Montgomery County is being run. We're sick and tired of the way that the liberals are running the state, and we want to make a difference, and we hope you do too.
And we want to elect another Republican governor, so we can kind of put the kibosh. And we still need to do a drive for five. We pick up 5 senators in 2022. We basically get to sustain a gubernatorial veto.
There's so much to look forward to and so much to work towards.
It's exciting times in Annapolis, and I know the session's about to start. If you're a young person looking for an internship or something, contact your state legislature, your Republican legislators.
Dwight, did you hear anything more about how the session is going to take place? I remember when we were talking with
Nino, yeah.
The new
delegate Mangiana,
yeah, about that, and she, it was a little early. She hadn't heard about how this was going to be. I'm kind of curious as to how much, if any, will be.
I tell you, it would be great if they did the hearings via Zoom, because it makes it easier for us to testify. Because right now it's an all-day affair if you want to testify, and you might not even get asked. Well, if we do it via Zoom, we don't have to drive to Annapolis in the cold and the snow,
Yeah, but then they can have convenient technical difficulties if they don't like what you're saying.
Yeah, but hopefully, look, here's the thing. We're Republicans in a blue state. It's par for the course that they're going to play games. We just have to be, as Scrooge McDuck would say, smarter than the smarties, tougher than the toughies, and sharper than the sharpies. And that's how we win in Maryland. There's no reason why, and here's the thing. They can pull that. You can only do those tricks once or twice before. Hey, how is it that it's always the Republicans has audio difficulties, not the Democrats, All
right.
Remember, Annapolis is not like Washington, but one last thing I do want to touch on before we say goodbye to our faithful fans out there. We've got actually a fair number of people watching our stream right now.
People love chaos.
I don't know why.
No, it's like, anything could happen, It's like,
Gotta love live television.
That's right.
It's like, here's the thing. We're like a family here. Art Bell used to say this. Actually, not Art Bell. George Norrie used to always say this. That's the one show that on Christmas Day, George Norrie is still is on the air. And one of the things he always says, we're like a family. We're always here for you, And then we understand some people don't have families or some people are alone. We're here for you guys. And, we've been here. We've been doing this since
March.
The lockdown started in March. We've been doing this every week. We've had some great guests. Thanksgiving Day, not Thanksgiving Day, Thanksgiving week, we have a best of show.
That's next week, dude.
No, not next week. I'm sorry, not Thanksgiving. I think it's Christmas Day. We're doing a best of show. It is, I believe it is, because Christmas Eve is on the 24th. No, 23rd, but we are going to do a best of show. Maybe we'll do it the 23rd of December, because some people may still have to do their Christmas shopping, but this year is going to be a little interesting. And so do you have either of you started your Christmas/Hanukkah shopping yet? Because you got 8 days to shop for.
I know. Well, no, I get 8 days of presents. I don't buy 8 days of presents. No,
Well, that's kind of rude, isn't it?
I haven't gotten 8 days of presents since I was living with my parents. I got my brother and my parents craft gin from a distillery in Wyoming this weekend. So that's
Thanks for that surprise, Jackie. I'm sure your parents are watching. And
they already know it had to be mailed to their house, so it's cool. I already told them I was getting it for them. We don't have surprises anymore. It's like, hey, what do you want? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, we've been in that stage for years. It's kind of like,
what do you want? Money? What are you gonna spend?
But see, Don, you have the fun of buying for
Groceries?
grandkids also, so that's got to be a lot of fun. Do the grandkids tell you what they want, or?
yeah, now that my daughter, her husband, my son-in-law is now a doctor, and they don't rely on us for any kind of funding of any sort or whatever. Don't owe us any money. In terms of gifts, we'll give them something, but I don't think we're going to give them as much as we did in the past, because my daughter's basically buying them what they need, what they want.
Mm-hmm.
So we're throwing a few extra things in there. So
My parents give me money, my grandparents give me money, and I spend it on rent and groceries.
Never underestimate the power of candy as giving. I've given candy out to people. Like I got nieces and nephews, even the ones in college and med school.
I'm fully expecting Christmas Day a pizza to show up on my doorstep with a bow on it.
Oh, are you not going to Boca for?
No, I'll be home for Christmas. I'm going to Boca next week. Anyway, thanks for joining us on this roller coaster ride.
We have 2 more minutes. We go to 8:15. We got 2 more minutes.
All right, what else you got? Dwight, put my dog to sleep.
Okay, there we go. Good night, Samson.
That's Delilah. Samson died.
Oh, Delilah. Okay.
Way to go, Dwight.
Hey, yeah, open up those wounds, right? But also, here's something else. People who are interested is we had the Maryland Republican Party has elections coming up. The state party convention is December 12th. It's going to be in person, and we are re-electing Chairman Dirk Hare for a 3rd term. Dirk has done an absolutely wonderful job as chairman. I mean, Don and I remember the dark days of the Maryland Republican Party when our banners would be stuck up by duct tape and they'd fall down in the middle of the convention and stuff like that. None of that has happened since Chairman Hare has been chairman. We've only gotten better since Chairman Hare. Fundraising is awesome.
Are they going to do this whole thing in person? Or no Zooming of anything or whatever?
Yep, it's going to be in person.
Live.
At Maryland Live on the 12th, unless the county executive or Governor Hogan does another lockdown. I do know this Friday, I think it starts this Friday, that everything has to shut down at 10 o'clock. And
I've never understood that. Is it like the boogeyman? Does the COVID come out at 10? That's when
10:01, the COVID comes out.
That's when it gets you?
Yeah. That it's kind of like,
a scientific fact, apparently, Jackie.
Hey, those scientists at Mars, it's not just peanut M&Ms. By the way, everyone, Mars, I don't mean the planet, I mean the candy company Mars, by the way. Anyway, by the way, somebody should, if you're interested, check out the book about the M&M Mars candy company. It's a very great, it's a
Wait,
great
they're
story.
not sponsoring us. Stop giving them free advertising. All right. It's 8:15. We're going to wrap this train wreck up.
It is not a train wreck,
If
Jackie.
you like more of this total nonsense for an hour, join us on Fridays for Dr. Politics and the Political
And
Architect.
we're only on for 45 minutes.
Yeah, well,
And I promise you no Jerry Cave on Friday.
join us next Wednesday for what will hopefully be an actual interview. This has been Direct Line, I think.
Yeah.
I've been Jackie, joined by Don